Thanks for joining me. I'm your host, George L. Masri, and this is another episode of the Well Off Podcast, where today I interviewed Omar Khan, who is the co-founder of Theta Trading. So for those that don't know, Theta Trading is all about helping people achieve financial freedom by teaching them the foundations of trading stock options. Omar has been investing in real estate and trading stocks for a number of years now, and on this episode, we actually talked about his family struggles, his financial struggles growing up, and how that led to him becoming financially free, how he bought 30 plus properties after joining REIN in 2008, and then learning how to trade stock options as well, and the differences between owning real estate versus stock options, which ones work better for him, and what are some of the benefits of you as a real estate investor, the benefits for you as a real estate investor if you are looking to create an additional source of income. So I know there's going to be a lot of good value here for you. I hope you'll enjoy the episode. Remember to leave us a 5-star review on the Apple Podcast platform. Make sure to share this with somebody that you think will benefit. And if you want to connect with me to talk about real estate investing, I'm more than happy to have a 15-minute conversation with you. All you got to do is go to welloff.ca, book a time through there. And again, I hope you will enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Well Off Podcast, where the goal is to motivate, inspire, and share success principles. I am here with Omar Khan from Theta Trading Co. Omar, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
First of all, thank you so much for having me on, George. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. So I think this is probably the first time we actually speak. I've seen you present. I know you're friends with Mark Loeffler and a couple guys that I know. I like to start off by asking you a little bit about where you grew up and maybe one or two things you remember.
Yeah, so I grew up in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, and what I remember about growing up is I remember never having enough. That's one thing that's ingrained in my memory. I had a great childhood. My parents were awesome, still are, and but the one thing I remember as a constant was, not having to. I always knew that I didn't want to struggle financially like my parents did.
Yeah, I totally relate to that. I know exactly what you're saying. I had a very similar upbringing, so. I think that's awesome because that drives a lot of us. Like a lot of people that I speak to on the podcast, if they had that type of childhood, they want to create something better for themselves. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Theta Trading? I know I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it by now, but if you want to just give us a quick summary.
Yeah. So Theta Trading is it's a way of investing. It's a way of looking at the world. How do we start Theta Trading? Well, going to university, I went to the University of Toronto. I got an economics degree, came out completely financially illiterate, which is, very surprising considering I went for an economics program, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was supposed to be at. But anyways, started working and I'm like, you know what? No one has taught me how to make a dime. So I started investing, trading on my own. I started in 98, kept trading, kept making money, kept investing, kept learning. And then the financial crash of 08, 09 happened. And my portfolio went down sizably in value, which is fine, which happens in the world, but because it was a huge, global financial collapse. And then 08, 09, I said to myself, you know what? I have to learn how to buy real estate the right way. So I joined REIN, and in the next maybe around 7 or 8 years, I proceeded to buy north of 30 properties. And I kept the majority of them until last year, and I sold off a bunch of single family homes last year. In the meantime, I just kept trading and trading. All my properties were acquired through trading, through my trading profits, which was great for me. I quit my job about 8 years ago, and the reason I quit is because I had about a dozen properties, and quite frankly, I had the knowledge to know I never had to go back. Even though I had a great job, I got paid a lot of money. But I came from the stock world. I learned how to buy real estate. So when I'd go to these meetings with real estate people, and they'd always trash the stock market. It's a common thing with real estate people. They do not, it's because they don't understand how the stock market works. So 2 years ago, we had over the years taught a bunch of, friends and family like Mark. We just taught him how to trade. We taught a bunch of other people how to trade. And then 2 years ago, we decided that we're going to make a business of this and teach people how to trade and how to invest and how to put their financial future in their hands. And 2 years later, we're at 1,200 plus people in our ecosystem.
Awesome.
And we've changed a lot of lives. So yeah, it's been great, man.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say amazing things about your program. I did I'm a real estate agent and an investor in Hamilton and other areas, but I did notice that you put up a bunch of homes for sale. I think it was last year and maybe earlier this year. I
Yeah,
was
this year.
curious, why is it that you are liquidating, and are you like using those funds to invest in the stock market and options trading?
Yeah, exactly. So I have a unique perspective that way. I understand real estate well because I own north of $20 million plus of property. So I understand real estate well, which I learned on my own through REIN. So I know real estate well, and I've been trading since 1998. So I understand the stock market well. So I have a unique perspective, and I understand both asset categories. Our job as investors is to allocate our capital to the most efficient, effective source possible. With real estate prices where they were from where I bought them, the rent to market value currently where it was when I sold them, and the future prospects. I don't think rates are going to go a whole lot lower. So I have to look at both asset categories and say, where do I have more opportunity? So I decided to sell off a bunch of single family homes and allocate those resources in the stock market. So far, so good.
Awesome. What would be like some of the main differences you've seen between your results through real estate investing versus through the stock market?
Real estate is I've done great in real estate. I bought in Hamilton too. I started buying there about 10 years ago in 2010, 2011, and I've done really, really well. So I have no problem with real estate. Real estate is great for wealth accumulation because of the leverage ratio, right? You can leverage yourself as long as cap rates are decent as well. You can make I've done a lot of BR4s. So I made a good amount of equity that way. Real estate is a very hands-on amount of work that you have to put into it. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of dealing with banks, which I despise because these banks make my life miserable. I can't go on enough about how much I don't like the banks. Yeah. Getting loans, getting refis done is an absolute nightmare. So real estate is great for wealth creation, right? Let's say you have $1 million of properties and it goes up by 15%. Well, you made 150 grand. But what that does not translate into is anything for you and your family in terms of lifestyle, right? So where trading fits in really, really well as a complementary investment asset category is that I'm able to generate a lot of free cash flow, which I can use for lifestyle, and excess beyond that will go back into acquiring more real estate when the numbers make sense. So to be able to use them in a complementary way, like what I do is I take my positive cash flow that I get generated from trading, I then put it into my real estate portfolio. I'll acquire more assets, and the positive cash flow and refis as they happen from real estate go back into padding my trading account to a larger and larger number until desired outcome is achieved. And now, luckily, I achieved that outcome a few years ago, so I don't have to worry about it. But I really enjoy what I do, so I keep doing it.
For sure. What do you think would be like an amount to a worthwhile amount to start investing into the options trading?
Simple answer, I'd say $10,000, but I will argue all day long that money is nowhere near as important as knowledge is, right? Because I started off with nothing but an OSAP debt and line of credit and just meager savings from my first job. So I grew my portfolio from there. But I will, there's a reason why, for example, if you look at lottery winners or professional athletes, why do more than 50% of them go broke? You would think that's just insanity. How can they go broke? It's because they're not financially literate to begin with. They don't know how money works. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you take someone who's already created a lot of wealth and you take all their wealth away, they're able to recreate it, right? So, I would say $10,000 is the short answer for that. But I would say the real answer is focus on the knowledge. As you get more comfortable, add more assets in. But the real key is getting the knowledge down, understanding the process, understanding why am I making money, and then just learning to scale it from there. Yeah.
Sure. And for those that don't know, because I'm familiar with your program, are you able to kind of do a quick summary of what Theta Trading is? What do you guys do? What do you teach people how to do? What's the strategy? Just briefly.
Yeah, I'll give you guys. I know a lot of your listeners are real estate listeners, so I'll give you a real estate analogy, okay? Imagine I see a house in Fantasyland, Ontario that costs $500,000. Now, I know they don't exist anymore. I get that. But let's just say they did, okay? 500 grand, all right? And, I do my homework. I look at the rent to market value. I look at any infrastructure projects that are coming in. I look at GDP growth. I look at jobs growth in the area. And I come up with a 1 year valuation of, let's say, $550,000, because I think rates are going to stay stable. Now, I've done that homework, okay? And I think the home will be worth $550,000 a year from now. And I think the true market value today is what the seller is asking for, which is $500,000. Instead of buying that house for 500,000, right? What I'll do is I'll say, instead of buying this house for 500,000, homeowner, I'll agree to buy it for you for 490,000 1 month from now. But I have determined that the 1 year value is 550. So again, instead of buying it for 500,000, I'll say, you know what? I'll take it off your hands for 490. I'll guarantee that price for a month. So even if it goes to 480 or 470, I'll guarantee you a 490,000 price target, right? A buy. In exchange for that, homeowner, you're going to pay me $10,000 for the month. Now, if I approached a prospective homeowner with this proposition, I would get, we'd probably get into a confrontation. They might call the cops on me, like, get the hell off my property. Like, it would turn into one of those things, right? Because nobody's going to go for it. You cannot do that in the real estate market, but you can do that in the stock market. So what we do in the stock market is we'll look at a company. Let's take, for example, Tesla. I love Tesla as a company. I think it'll be worth far more in the future. Now, that's not meant to be stock advice. That's just our internal homework. Now, Tesla's currently trading at around $750. Okay. So I can do two things. I can agree to buy Tesla for at or lower its price, which is what we do, or I can just buy Tesla and wait for it to go up. Now, think about it. Tesla's at $750 today. Okay. If I just agree to buy it for $750 a month now, I'm getting paid 5% for the month. So can you imagine getting paid 5% for a month simply for agreeing to buy something that I would have bought anyways, that I think is going to be worth a lot more in the future?
Yeah.
So that's the basic premise of what we do day in and day out. And that's the real estate analogy equivalent.
Sure. And so basically what you're saying is, this isn't necessarily telling people, hey, don't invest in real estate. This is better. You're saying invest in real estate because that's going to build your long-term wealth, but use this strategy on the side so that you can generate some income for yourself now, or just have some extra cash that you can reinvest in real estate, whatever else you might want to do with it.
Yeah, well, I would say, I wouldn't say, I would add to that in the sense that if the numbers don't make sense, I'm not going to buy a property just because I have excess capital. I know what else to do with it.
Yeah.
Right. If the numbers make sense, I'm not going to go buy a 3 cap in Hamilton that has no upside on the rents. Why would I do that? Mm-hmm. It's insanity. I don't think rates are going to go any lower.
Yeah.
So if the numbers don't make sense, just because my capital is accumulating here, I'm not just going to go blindly buy a property. I'll put more money into the stock market because the point is, if you're effectively able to understand and evaluate 2 different asset categories, you can allocate your capital, your money, to the source where you think you're going to get the highest rate of return, risk adjusted, right? Yeah. And occasionally, of course, there'll be times when real estate comes back in favor. Right now, in my opinion, is not one of those times. That could easily change in the future, but that is the general idea. The general idea is to take our earnings, acquire more real estate, but we don't do it blindly. We only do it when the numbers make sense.
Yeah, for sure. Now, if somebody's interested in finding out more about how to get involved in options trading and in your programs, can you kind of tell us what programs you offer and maybe give us an idea of what you cover in those programs?
Yeah, so we have a Theta course. It's called the Theta Introductory Stock Academy. And it is designed to take someone who knows nothing about the stock market, I mean nothing, and take them at the end of that one weekend to a point where they fully understand the stock market, how it works, why it works, and also the option strategy that we use. We have a very simple strategy, but there's a lot to learn with that simple strategy. Again, like I said, we simply agree to buy stocks lower than their current market value, and we get paid a lot of money to do so. Now, we teach all of that in one weekend. We also give 6 months of follow-up support. You get our daily newsletter with all of our trades, not for the purpose of copying, but for the purpose of understanding the thought process behind each and every trade. So that if we get hit by a bus, you can continue on your own. You get a coaching call every Friday. You get live events, like we had a golf tournament this summer. There's a lot of follow-up. So you get 6 months of that. And if at the end of 6 months, if you don't understand it, it's probably because you didn't put in the effort. Because there is a learning curve. And there's definitely effort to be put in. But I promise, after that effort has been put in, it is an absolute game changer financially. Like, it literally has the ability to change your life if you take it seriously, if you put in the work. So that course is $1,997 as one shot, or you can pay in 3 installments. It's entirely your choice.
Okay. Now, I'm sure there are people listening and wondering, if this works so well, why isn't everyone doing it? What's your answer to that?
The same reason I have. How come everyone doesn't have 10, 20, 30, $50 million of real estate? It works. Does it not?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But people don't do it,
Right.
right? Why isn't everyone Warren Buffett? I stopped answering that question a long time ago. I realized that a lot of the world is negative, pessimistic, closed-minded, and they're always going to be that way. There's nothing that you can say or do to these people that is going to change them. Now, there's a certain segment of the population which is not. That is the segment we're going for. People who are open-minded, willing to learn things, and expand and get out of their comfort zone, right? For real estate investors, I understand the stock market is like the boogeyman, right? Like, why would I want to invest in the stock market when I do so well in the real estate market? Well, the real estate market has been on a 20-year bull run, right? Rates are pretty much at the lowest point they're ever going to be. They're not, would you expect the same sort of continuation 20 years forward? That time will tell. But my point is, why not learn to objectively understand two asset categories so you can, allocate your capital to the most effective source? Simple answer, George. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, here's I'll give you one more thing here. I think, okay, so again, let's say I agree to buy Tesla for $750 and someone pays me 5% for the month. Okay. The odds are so heavily stacked against them. And yet the worst thing that'll happen to me is I'm going to own Tesla for $750 and I keep the 5% for the month.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, why would someone do this? Right. I used to ask that question all the time. And then I would drive by a casino and see that it's completely full. When the people there are fully aware that they are most likely going to lose money and the odds are so heavily stacked against them, yet people continue to do this. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But, that's human nature.
Yeah. Just to kind of break that down a little bit. So if you are looking at it from the other perspective, that Tesla stock owner that's accepting your option fee, I guess they're just looking for some insurance because they're thinking maybe the market's going to drop. I don't want to risk, the Tesla stock dropping to like $600. So I'll pay this little option fee as an insurance policy.
Absolutely. That's one aspect. So a lot of people, absolutely, you're right. Let's say, for example, you own a few hundred shares of Tesla and you're like, you know what? I got to be able to sell my Tesla shares for $750 at minimum because I need this money for a down payment on a property I'm buying. That's one source. People who are essentially insuring the value of their stock. We are more than happy to take their money because we're happy to own that stock because we think it'll be worth a lot more because we've done our homework. That's one type of person who buys this insurance, and we provide this insurance. The second type is simply a speculator. Someone who's looking to turn a small amount of money into a large amount of money, and if they're wrong, they'll lose all their money. Again, we're more than happy to take their money because we're happy if we have to own Tesla and that insurance does kick in, we're more than happy either way. For us, it's a win-win either way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So for you moving forward, having owned a lot of real estate and a lot of stocks, moving forward, are you personally leaning more towards investing in stocks, or are you still kind of like 50-50?
My asset mix is probably 50-50 right now, but I'm moving more and more towards stocks because I see the growth in, we're about to undergo a significant transformation in the world. If you look at the movement to electric vehicles, robotics, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, again, like I don't know if you saw that Tesla bot, where it's, it's going to be like a, imagine having a bot in your house that's going to clean your home and get your groceries for you. Like, it's going to be an insane new world. And if that does occur, which I think it will, that means the pace of GDP growth will be absolutely exponential. There is no limit to it. So that being the case, I just see more opportunity right now in the stock market. And the stock market's a general term. That's like saying I see more opportunity in the real estate market. Well, what market? Mm-hmm. Is it Hamilton? Is it Toronto? Is it outside of Ontario? Is it in the United States? So again, I see more opportunity in the stock market because of all these changes that we're about to undergo as humans, as opposed to real estate, which has kind of had a 20-year bull run. Rates are at a historical low. Now, I understand there's immigration coming in, 500,000 people coming in for the next 3 years into Canada. That's going to provide upward pressure. But if you notice in the election campaign, we just had on Monday, every party talked about affordable housing. Mm-hmm. And it was a centerpiece of their actual policy. So you tell me, do you think, that real estate has that much more to go on the upside? It might. But I just think right now there's more opportunity on the stock side, specifically companies that are going to be part of this transformation that we're about to undergo.
Okay. Yeah, that's understandable. So maybe the last thing I'll ask you, unless you feel like there's anything else we should cover, but what's your vision for Theta Trading? Like, where do you see it going in the next couple of years? What would you like to achieve?
Well, I want to achieve what we set out to achieve. So, like, luckily for myself and my business partner Matthew, we were able to achieve financial independence at a good age and live life on our terms. Our only goal, and the goal we've started from the beginning, is to get as many people as possible into a position of financial independence as we possibly can. That is our goal. Why? Because it's a personal issue for us. This caused a lot of problems in my life growing up. I saw my parents arguing about this stuff all the time. I grew in an immigrant household. It was always savings, watching each dollar. Like, it's not the life I want to live, right? You talked about, you had a similar upbringing, right? It was a great, environment, but the financial aspect of it was a major problem. And if you look at the cause of divorces, of mental health issues in society, a lot of that stems from a lack of money, lack of finances. Mm-hmm. So if we can alleviate this problem, make people's lives better, that is what we set out to do in the first place, right?
Awesome.
So, yeah, that's how I see it morphing from here.
Cool. Is there anything we didn't cover? Anything you want to touch on before we move on to the next section?
No, I would just say, I would strongly encourage people to objectively and openly look at the logic behind this, right? Like, think about it. If I want to buy Tesla, or if I want to buy Apple, or some of the best companies in the world, like Facebook today, I decided to buy a lot of Facebook because it's down. Do I want to pay current market value, or would I rather buy it below market value and get paid between 1% to 5% per month just for agreeing to buy it?
Yeah.
And the worst thing that's going to happen to me is I'm going to own a stock I like at a cheaper price, and I got paid a crap load of money to do so.
Yeah.
I would say, please be open-minded. Look at what this can do to your life. And if you want to buy more real estate, you can take all your proceeds and buy more real estate. The point is, it puts you in a much better position as an investor. And that's our job.
Exactly. Yeah, that's awesome. I think I like the way you put it, like the fact that if people are wondering, why isn't everyone doing this? Well, why isn't everyone buying real estate? Why isn't everyone putting money aside? Why do people gamble? That's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah. And you think of it, what is it? 70% of people are paycheck to paycheck. Why is that? Why is that the case?
Yeah.
It's because, right from the beginning, financial literacy is not taught in grade school. It's not taught in high school. It's not even taught in university. So some of the most educated people who come out, or uneducated, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm talking about formal education. The vast majority of people come out financially illiterate. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question. Did you learn about real estate in school?
No, I did an economics degree as well.
Oh, you did? So there you go.
Yeah.
And how much did you learn about real estate or building wealth or building businesses, any of that stuff in school?
Zero.
Me too. That is my exact point.
Yeah.
So that's why I think more people don't participate in this, because they're largely unaware of it. Like, before hearing about Theta, you could buy stocks cheap and get paid a lot of money for it.
I knew because I'm friends with Mark Loeffler. He introduced the concept to me, but that's because of you.
That's because of us. Yeah, we tell Mark. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's my point, right? So most people are largely unaware that this exists. Also, on the technology side, 20 years ago, this wasn't possible because you weren't able to trade on your phone, right? The cost of trading were much higher. Now you can trade on your phone anywhere in the world, 30 minutes, and you're done. It's a really good spot to be in. So if it wasn't for technology, we wouldn't be in this position right now. So that's one of the main reasons I think people haven't participated in this part of the economy and creating other income stream for themselves, is because the technology didn't exist prior.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So we covered a lot of good things. I appreciate that you're very passionate about this topic and helping people. So we're going to move on to the next section, which is the random 5. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. Just tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Number 1 is, what is something that is really out of your comfort zone?
Anything to do with the arts, like painting, singing, music. It's not for me. I suck at all those things. So
okay.
That would be the thing for me. I see some drawings in your background. I think you got, is that The Rock and Steve Jobs?
Kobe.
Oh, it's Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe. The Mamba mentality. See?
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
So I think that's out of my comfort zone. Yeah.
Cool. Probably pretty similar for me. Although it doesn't make me necessarily uncomfortable, but I do suck at most of those things. But number 2, would you ever eat bugs?
Bugs?
Yeah.
Like, I've eaten bugs. I was in the Canadian military for 4 years. So on survival courses, you got to eat whatever you got to eat. So I've eaten all kinds of weird things. I have no problem eating bugs. If I prefer, of course, not to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I have to, I'll eat another human being if I have to, quite frankly, to survive. It's just, it's
Yeah.
part of my military training. I'll hopefully, again, I never have to do something like this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Okay. The things you learn when you ask these questions. Number 3, would you rather time travel to the past or to the future?
100% of the future.
Yeah.
I think the world is such a cool time to be alive. And I think 10 years from now, when cars are running around driving themselves and we have bots in our home helping us and artificial intelligence is getting stronger and stronger. And therefore we're able to solve a lot of the world's, health and science problems. Yeah. I think the world is, there's a danger to that as well. Of course, there's a lot of ugly things that come with it, but I think the future is very bright for humanity and I'd love to see it.
Cool. Number 4, what really stupid movie always makes you laugh?
Friday. Ice Cube. Yeah. It's a great movie, man. So if you've seen it, have you seen it?
I have not seen it. No, I know what it's about, but I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a bit older. So it's a movie from the late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. It's a pretty funny movie. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my wife's seen it, but not me. I have yet to see it.
You got to see it.
Yeah. Okay. Number 5, have you ever taken classes just for fun?
No, I wouldn't say I've ever taken class for fun. I'm not it was always for a purpose, but I've spent a lot of money on educating myself. I've done multiple Tony Robbins courses. I did strategic coach with Dan Nolan. I did REIN for almost, 7 years. I think it was maybe more, maybe even 10 years. I can't remember how long I was REIN for. So I spent a lot of money on my personal education, but is it for fun ever? No, it's always for a purpose.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. This guy behind me did Steve Jobs. I'm pretty sure he did his typography class for fun back in university. He dropped out, and anyway,
that's why he was Steve Jobs, though, right? Because of all the best investment. If I had time, I would definitely do that, but I don't have the time right now. I'm a big believer in this. The best decision you can ever make, the best decision you can make in terms of money spent is the money that you spend on yourself, right? Like I took this course by Dan Nolan years ago, strategic coach. It was $10,000 for 4 days, right? Not cheap, but I learned something invaluable there to outsource, systemize, and delegate my life. Yeah. So after that, I don't do a thing at home. I don't cut grass or shovel driveways or cook food, or I don't do anything. Yeah. I focus simply what I'm best at, and I outsource every one of those tasks, like cleaning my car. I don't know who does these things in my house, but it's certainly not me. And that's because you're supposed to allocate your time to where you're most productive, and it's certainly not for me getting groceries. That's not a good thing for me, unless of course it is something you enjoy, which is a different case altogether.
Yeah, and it's so much easier to delegate. Like you can order groceries online really easily now, so there's a lot of ways to delegate these things.
Yeah, who wants to cut grass on a Saturday? Like cutting grass and like putting flowers. That's not for me. But my guy, people I've hired, they do a great job with. This is my point. Getting your car cleaned. Everyone's car gets dirty. I have a mobile car cleaning service that comes to my home and cleans my cars, which again saves me time. And that's what I'm getting at. There's a lot of things that you learn when you decide to try to learn. But also, one thing that nobody can really force you to do is to implement. Like when I was at REIN, I would sit at a different table every time I was there, and I would just talk to people. And I realized that there's a lot of people who had been there for years who had yet to buy a property. I'm like, what are you waiting on?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta get there's no point of being here for years and years and years if you're not going to implement this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that was the last question. Do you want to tell people how they could reach you? And pretty obvious, but what services do you provide?
You can reach me at omar@thetatradingco.com, and it's on my hat, the Theta Trading.
Yep.
We educate people in the stock market how to use derivatives to generate income and build your overall wealth and put yourself in a position to do what you want. It also has 100% money back guarantee, and the reason we do that is because we know what we do works, right? We've proven it with our own lives, and I don't know. And I would encourage also people to take a look at our reviews, our Google reviews. I think we have 150 some odd Google reviews, and each one of them is 5 stars. Not because we asked; they're very detailed about what this has meant to their life. So people will tell you, how it's changed your life. And I would encourage you, George. I would say, learn how to invest and trade. It literally has the ability to change your life. Right?
Yeah,
it's not a small deal.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I know, like, Mark's been pushing me to learn about this for a long time. I've been pushing it aside over and over and over, but I know I will have to get into this.
Well, and not that you have to, you need to get in this, right?
Yeah.
If you want, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. We want to put ourselves in the best financial position possible, so the next generation we can pass on not just money but life lessons and what, like, my kids, hopefully will never have to go through the crap that I went through. Now, you learn a lot from the crap that you go through, but it's also to make your life. So I'm looking forward. Hopefully, you're on the 16th and 17th. We have our next course. I'd love to see you on there, and trust me, it'll literally change your life. There's a reason Mark's been pushing you on this.
Yeah.
It's not because he's crazy. It's because he knows what it's done for his life, right?
Sure. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks a lot for everything you shared today. I wish you all the best and looking forward to staying in touch.
Thank you, George, for having me on, and I appreciate the opportunity to share the message.
As always, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the content. And if you did, I ask you to share this with a friend, with a family member, somebody who might benefit. And it's always appreciated if you can leave us a review, especially if you're listening to it on the Apple Podcasts app, or if you're on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, comment, and your support is always appreciated. Thank you very much.